This will be another one of those videos where I will be recording the screen as we go on to the charts so we can see what we can see. No assumptions before we get on. And right now you get into where I took a previous trade. However, as you can see, it ended up in a loss, and it's very disappointing. It's very disappointing for that to happen. But I've lost enough now to know that this is just the normal way, and I just have to accept my life for the way that it is. Once I decided to choose this profession, this is what comes with it, is I'm going to take a lot of losses, but I will not let that keep me down. Now, to get straight to the point of this video, we are going to discuss different ways on how we can identify the trend within the market. Now, depending on the time frames that you are trading, there are different ways to identify the trend in the market. Now, you can identify the overall trend, which is what most people do, and then you can identify the current trend, which is what is happening in the current moment at price as it is, and you will also do that. So now, to identify the trend, what we would like to see, we would like to see higher highs and higher lows. So we would like to see a movement such as this. I hope my magnet is on. Let me lock the tool in. This is what we would like to see. We would like to see price doing this. Goes up, down, up, down, up. So now we will identify this. Sorry about that, guys. See, all I'm trying to do is just move this little thing. Okay. We'll identify this. Put a more visible color. Okay, we'll identify this as our trend line. And we've identified that we are currently in an uptrend on the 1 hour time frame. And we can label this that way because we are currently witnessing higher highs. So we'll label the higher high as HH. So higher high there, which means price has gone up past the point of resistance that was previously at. So a higher high will be here, price has gone past that point and it went higher. And then we have our higher low. And this will be a higher low, meaning that price came back to create a low. And once again, it'll create another higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and it just keeps going on and on and on till it starts consolidating, or it reverses and goes within the opposite direction. So that is one way that we'll use to identify the trend. We're not really going to concentrate on the time frames, but just on the concept of how do we actually see where price is going. It's not difficult, it's lines on a chart. So there's no need to complicate it. So this will be the next way, will be to come to a point and then draw our trend line, touching as many points that our trend line is bouncing off of. So you can clearly see that with the trend line that we've drawn, at certain points price was touching and bouncing off of a trend line. I have people here, so I have to be opening the door. However, we'll clone it again. Don't mind the noise, guys. And we will identify these as our points where our trend line is being touched. And you can see that every time we got to this point, price rejected, price rejected, price rejected, price rejected. And that clearly identifies that we are in an uptrend. Now, the third and last way that we are going to define our uptrend is to go to where price currently is. And this is the way that I personally do it when I go about doing my analysis. And that will be to go onto the higher time frames. And then simply, this does not need any drawing or anything. You simply just identify what color the candles are. So for me personally, I set my trades on the 30-minute and the 1-hour time frames and above. So I'd like to see every time frame above that moving in one direction. Meaning, if it's bullish, I want to see every candle to be green. And if it's bearish, I want to see every candle to be red. That is on the higher time frames. So I'll just go into my 1 month. I see my weekly. I wouldn't take a trade here because it's bearish, but if it was bullish, it's a green candle. I go down onto my daily, I see bullish, I go onto the 4-hour, and this is now where I'll be looking for my key levels. However, I would also want to see the candle moving bullish, meaning green candle, and that way I've identified the current trend where price is actually at. So these are 3 methods that you can use to identify the trend of the market. One is to plot out by identifying the higher highs and the higher lows. The second is to draw your trend line from one point to the next point, trying to get it to a point where it's rejecting across that trend line. Because it's a straight line, when you plot it diagonally, automatically it will fall into these parts of resistance, and once you see it's been touching on your line, most likely you've identified a trend line. And that's what makes it a bit more difficult, is that it is subjective, meaning that everyone is going to have a different trend line. So you'll have your trend line. You go onto YouTube, you'll see this guy has a different trend line. You go onto a book, you see it was drawn different trend line. You go onto a box, wherever it is, people have their different ways of doing these things, but essentially the principles remain the same. And then fourth and finally, we have where we identify the trend immediately with what is occurring right now with the price. So we'll just label that as this blue part, and then that will conclude the video.